Hi, and welcome to Trim the Fat Podcast, a podcast designed to help you on your physical, emotional, and spiritual journey. We're going to touch on your mind, your body, and your soul. We're going to talk about our fears, our anxieties, and our traumas, the fat that keep us stuck. We want to make sure that we're living our best life. That's what we're here for. We want to trim the fat. And I'm Rhonda Garner, Dr. Rhonda Garner. I'm a mom and a pharmacist that wants to live her best life. And today on our podcast, we have Dr. Patrice Pritchett. She's a mom and a pharmacist just like myself. And we'll be talking about what's good to us, but not good for us. Hey, Patrice.
Hey,
how are you?
I'm well. How are you doing?
Good. Tell our listeners a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am Patrice. I am a pharmacist, like you stated before. I am a mother of 3, a wife, trying to be a serial entrepreneur and live the soft life one day.
I know, because it's hard knock life.
I know, right? It's tough out here. But yeah, so I've been in Memphis for 19 years now. Yeah, because I've been out of school for 15. So Memphis for 19 years. So this is my second home. And I'm glad to be here.
Well, I'm glad you're here too. So I'm glad you're here. So we're going to talk about some of the things that I know we are so passionate about. First of all, just like trying to get better in life, period. Trying to have a financial stability, trying to have emotional stability, physical, and trying to juggle all the hats that we wear. That's a lot of things that we have in common. We juggle and we do so many things. So tell me, so one of the things that I found interesting, I was just talking to other people, is that sometimes people say, take care of yourself, or, be good to yourself. But when we end the conversation, you could do that with a friend. When we're leaving the conversation, we say, take care of yourself.
Right.
If I get off the phone with somebody, instead of saying bye, sometimes we say, take care of yourself. But what do we really take heed to when people say take care of ourselves? Or what does that look like to you? What does taking care of yourself really look like to Patrice?
No, we don't take heed, okay? First of all. But I feel like taking care of oneself, to me, it starts with accepting who you are, okay? So bear with me. Let me explain this. Because a lot of times, we want to be healthy and, financially, physically, emotionally, mentally, etc., spiritually. But it's hard for us to identify the areas that we need to work on if we don't accept ourselves for who we are. I had to learn that, okay, in order for me to improve in any area of life, I had to accept that I had weaknesses. I had to accept that I do have strengths and I can hone in on those strengths, but I can also work on my weaknesses. So until you love yourself and say, hey, Patrice, you're good at this, and this, but honey, you have to work on these. And you accept that. Once you accept yourself, other people can't use it against you. Ooh. So when you learn to accept who you are, only then can you really start the journey of self-care. You can identify, what do I need to do spiritually to become better? And you won't know that unless you dive deep within and learn who you are spiritually. What are you lacking spiritually? You can't say, well, I'm going to work on this, but then you don't know what you're lacking. So that's the biggest thing for me, learning to accept who you are and then going from there.
So have you? So what's one thing you could talk about that you're okay with sharing, like that you had to confront or just accept, like you said, accept? Because I know I have so many things I had to accept. Like I can't put it off anymore. Right. I have to accept it because I can't move forward. I'm not going to be successful in any part of my life. And you said all of these things. I won't be until I accept some certain things. Yeah. What's one? Is it something that you can, like something that you have accepted that's gotten you a little bit better than you were before?
Yeah, and it's something I'm currently working on, but I had to learn, even at my old age of 40.
Old, okay.
That that I lacked a lot of emotional intelligence. And that was something that I did not want to fess up to for years. I did not want to realize it, I guess you would say. But I have a quick temper. I mean, and I've been like that since I was a little girl. Anything will just get me from 0 to 100. And so as an adult, I realized that a lot of the areas that I am failing in is due to my temperament and my lack of emotional intelligence. So that's something that I have taken the initiative to purposely work on for the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Once I had to, once I realized that, okay, this is true.
Oh,
This is the truth about you.
True.
You need to work on this.
Dang, this is true. Just an easy statement like that, because sometimes I say, okay, this is not true. Even though I know it's true, but like, no, it's not true. So why?
You're not really like that. Yes, you are. You are. And it goes back to accepting yourself, and then it ties into being honest with yourself. Like, who are you really? What are your good traits? What are your good attributes? What are your bad traits? Mm-hmm. And you cannot improve on anything. You cannot really, truly take care of yourself until you identify those issues and identify your strengths and weaknesses within yourself. So I had to be honest. I'm struggling. But, I've gotten better. I'm learning to, they tell you to count to 10.
Mm-hmm.
Girl, that's real. Like, I have to literally count to 10 and walk out.
Yeah.
Or self-talk, like, Patrice, don't do that. Don't say that. Girl, walk on,
Yeah.
And it helps.
I like that because listen, we, like you said, old age of 40 is not, but we did why? It's like we had to wait. We had to go through life to learn life.
Right.
And so we blessed to even get the rest of the years later after we learned how to life. Because I just when you said the count to 10, I just start taking breathing seriously. Because I started finding myself like I'm sitting like this or I'm holding my breath because, okay, let that out. I'm going to feel a little better after I let this out. But one thing that my therapist told me was about breathe. She was like, oh, let's do this breathing, box breathing. I was like, that's not going to work. Yeah, it's not going to work.
Good posture.
Yeah, so she said, there's different types of breathing you can do. You don't have to do it here. So I said, okay, I was in a situation and I said, okay, let me try this breathing because right now, I don't know how I'm going to stop feeling the way.
Right.
The breathing worked. It works. Like I calmed down. I went from 100 to about 15 or 20, but it made me, it made me feel a little bit better. But like you said, like you got to say, this is true. There's nobody making this up. It's true. I've been dealing with this a lot. Sometimes I'm the common denominator.
Right. And that's just being honest with yourself. No, we're all human. We're not perfect beings. Sometimes you're the problem. And sometimes you're causing a lot of your problems. Self-inflicted. Right. It's self-sabotage.
Oh, why you say that?
Because I deal with it a lot. I sabotage myself.
Yes. But you know what they say? That sometimes, and that's where we kind of similar. They say self-sabotage comes from we're nurturers, but we won't let nobody nurture us, or we think we don't deserve it.
Right.
So, where does that come from? For you, where do you think that comes from? Like, for me, I really can't pinpoint it. I do the good things that I see they're great and good. I'm going to do, why?
I think for me, it stemmed from my childhood and just growing up and having to take care of others all the time and not really learning what it meant to take care of myself. I've always had this mentality of I'll be okay. I'm strong. I'm Patrice. I'll be okay. I'll deal with it. I don't need help. And when you're in a situation where a lot of people depend on you to make it, they depend on you to be mentally strong, for you to be physically strong. You don't even think about yourself. So I think that that's part of it. And another part for me, as far as the self-sabotaging part, is, we are overachievers by nature, okay? But we bombard ourselves with this long list of to-dos and these unrealistic goals. And it's like a fear of, although we're successful in the eyes of a lot of people, we are successful, but because we are overachievers, it's not enough. I'm 40 years old. Had I made an impact on this world like I really want to, had I done enough? I'm always like that. This is not enough. This is not what my life should look like at 40. I should be doing this and this and this. I should be living in this big old house and I should be rich and I should be, And I think a lot of times, as far as I'm concerned, it's a fear. I'm successful, but it's a fear that I would surpass that. Although that's what I want to do.
I want to do it.
But it's I can't describe it, but it's still a fear. So I do things unconsciously that sabotages my elevation. And that's another thing that I am actively working on. Like, it's okay to have more than enough. Because I think a lot of times, especially as Black women, you know, we do so much. And a lot of times, even our own people, you know, you're a pharmacist, you do makeup, you do this. Why are you doing that? What do you need that for? Why do you need to make all that money? Like, people think that way. But I believe in what's wrong with being overly abundant. You know, that helps you help other people if you have more than enough. So it's this, I want to be overly abundant. I want to have those things, but it's a fear of how others will look at me. You know, she thinks she's better than me, or, you know, she has all this, and what is she doing? She's not helping this. You know, you get on the internet all the time, you see people talking about Oprah and Beyonce, and, you know, well, they're not giving, they don't help. I need my light bill paid. Come pay my light bill. You know, I mean,
I need somebody to pay my MLGW right now.
Man, I'm telling you, that's ridiculous. That's another story. That's a whole podcast. Okay. Anyway, so I think it's like we want to achieve because we know what achievement looks like, but it's deep down inside, we fear the opinions of others. And that's something that I had to learn to try to get over. I don't care what people think about me. And that's one reason I've kind of shied away from like social media and, you know, just kind of kept to myself lately because I am trying to get to a point where the only opinion that matters is mine and my kids sometimes and my husband, but mine, mine, you know, my opinion of myself matters. So I think there is a deep fear of actually reaching that goal that you set out to reach.
It is. So getting back to that. So something when you talked about, you was like, we go ahead and do things. We know we make this to-do list, this big to-do list.
Yes.
overachieving. But see, for us, we say, okay, this list is good. Yeah. This is a good list. But in actuality, because there's so much stuff on there, it's not good for us. And so we put that pressure on ourselves. Self-inflicted pressure. So you may have overcome that.
I haven't. I'm working on it.
Okay. So for me, I know I have had to just like, okay, I'm learning in this late in life to say, no, I can't.
Yes.
No, period, or no, I can't do it at this time. If it has to be done right now or a decision has to be made right now, the answer got to be no, especially if it doesn't fit into my world. Because we talk about, okay, I want to live a healthy life. I want to move forward. I want to do this. But if we're not, like, what do they say? You can't pour from an empty glass. We do it so often. And I think that's another form of self-sabotage.
Oh, absolutely.
Because what we're doing is we're trying to do so much, but then we can't even finish or complete that one thing that can possibly put us to where we want to be.
Exactly.
Because we got our hands in so many pots.
And end up doing nothing or, you know, just a bunch of incomplete projects.
That's but that like fear of failure that you talked about, that fear of failure then sets in because now we feel we failed when we really didn't fail.
Right.
Because we didn't attempt to that. So let me ask you this. So we're trying to get to a place where we're like, okay, I'm doing me. I want to do this. I don't want to compare myself to social media. I'm glad that you take these, you don't look at that a lot because I feel like that's a form of spiritual.
Absolutely.
Thief. There's a spiritual thief in some forms of social media.
Comparisons and, and, they're going on this trip and they're doing that. And I make 6 figures. Why can't I go on a trip? But
then you think,
No.
You gotta have your we had different seasons. So that's what I'm saying. We have seasons. You're a mom. It's other things we have responsibilities
exactly.
for. But I do see how social media can get you in a rut because you're saying, okay, like you said earlier, I should. In your mind, you tell yourself, at this age, I should. That's a society-placed truth. That's not real. So we don't know how long we're gonna live. We don't know what impact we're having on the world because nobody really tells us.
Right.
But you'll hear about it later. Patrice,
after you're gone.
Or you might hear about it in passing, while you're alive. But still, it's like you are making an impact. Yes, you need abundance to do the things you want to do mentally.
Right.
But sometimes we already have enough.
Yeah.
We already have enough to make the impact. But for self things that we need to fulfill ourselves, we do need abundance because we feel we're deserving. Like, I'm deserving of more. Yeah. But sometimes we don't get to that to know. We don't get there. It takes us so long to get to that part. I'm deserving for more. And so we have to X out. How can we X out that self-sabotage?
Ooh, honey, I'm working on it. I hadn't achieved it yet. But one thing that I've decided to do is to be more realistic instead of being delusional. Because my to-do lists are delusional. Like, I will jam-pack my day with all these things. I'll set these 3-month goals and, knowing that life is going to interfere with a lot of those things. I have 3 kids at home. They have 3 different things going on, activities, etc., football game, dance, whatever they're involved in. And we set these unrealistic goals. I have my unrealistic, delusional to-do list, and then I don't get it done and I fail and I fall into a slump and I get depressed and I don't do anything because I'm depressed. And then I get a boost of energy. I go to my therapist. I'm back in action and I make this delusional to-do list again, rinse and repeat.
Because you're getting a reward from completing half of that to-do list. You're like, oh my, I'm on track. I'm on track. I can get this done. But we gotta. No, we're on a journey. We're on a journey.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So when we think about that, because sometimes we say, okay, how did we get here? That makes me think about being unhealthy. So like for you, when I say the word unhealthy, what does that bring up for you? What does unhealthy mean to you?
To me, well, first of all, when I think about health, I think a lot of times when people think about health, they think about physical health. It automatically goes to exercising, eating right. But you have your spiritual health. You have your financial health. You have your mental and your emotional health as well. So it's not just physical. And for me, health is not a destination. It's a journey, and we're continuously on this journey throughout life. We're gonna mess up during this journey. We're gonna start over. We're gonna rinse and repeat. We're gonna make mistakes. We're gonna achieve some goals in this journey. So I feel like just being unhealthy means that you're walking around not accepting, like I said before, who you are. Not being honest with yourself. To be unhealthy is not being honest with yourself in those aspects of life. Once you are honest with yourself, financially, for example, are you a spender or are you a saver? If you know that as soon as you get your hands on money, it's hot potato. If you know this about yourself, then and you don't do anything about it, that's unhealthy. If you know that if you eat a lot of carbs that you're not going to reach your weight loss goal. Your stomach is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And
I know this. Stand up and show. Yeah.
And you know this, and you're not doing anything about it.
Eating the cake.
You're not doing anything about it. That's unhealthy. It's knowing the truth, but ignoring it. Yeah. I feel like is what the definition to me of unhealthy is.
So would it be fair for me to say unhealthy for you is really your actions not aligning with what you want?
Well, with what you know, these are things you have to work on. You know that these are areas of weakness, yet you don't do anything about it. That's unhealthy to me.
Accepting something you really don't. Yeah, I get it.
You can accept it. You know it's the truth. You know, okay, I need to go to church more. I need to pray more, but you don't do it. To me, that's unhealthy.
Okay, I see. I get it. So going back to that. So for you, what's something that is you love to do, you like to do, you can't wait to do, and you can't let go of, but you know it's not good for you? Is there something like that you have?
They're eating them. What?
You look like you couldn't wait to tell me. Like,
I love to eat. I used to want to be a food critic as a child. Like, I just want to go to restaurants, travel the world, and eat and write about what it tastes like. Okay. But I know that realistically, I'm getting older. You have hormones coming in, taking over, doing what they want to do. And my metabolism is slowing down. And I have to take the initiative. I have to love myself enough to be disciplined. And that's a big thing that a lot of us are missing out on. And myself, like I'll be disciplined for a minute. And I fall off. Then I become disciplined again and consistent. Then I fall off. It's a cycle. But you have to try to figure out what's your end goal. I love to eat, but what's my end goal? Am I trying to be here 20 years from now?
Mm-hmm.
Am I going to let this bowl of pasta prevent me from being here 20 years from now? Because you know that one bowl turns into a bowl tomorrow.
Yeah.
Then the next day, then you eating 5 bowls and then you gain 30 pounds.
Yeah.
You know.
You're not doing anything. Yeah. Yeah. So like we said before in another setting about moderation, because either we're going to be disciplined, like you said, because it's hard to be disciplined as a grown-up. It's easier for a child to be disciplined because they ain't really had set and conditioned themselves to say, okay, I'm going to get away with it. I'm going to do this again and I can start over. We as adults,
it's difficult. It's difficult. It's difficult to say, I'm going to do this on this day at this time every day, because a big part of being disciplined is being consistent. You can do something one day, and like I said, you have to look at the bigger picture. You can't just look at the tree. You have to look at the forest. What's your end goal? I have a 5-year-old son, you know, and things happen. Life happens, but what can I control? You know, I know that I have a history of diabetes in my family, you know, and it was rampant. So I know that I'm high risk. I also know, being a pharmacist, that I shouldn't be eating certain things if I want to control my hemoglobin A1C. So, you know, not knowing these things, and then I'm not addressing these issues, it causes problems, you know? So it's just like, for instance, with, like I said, with the diabetes thing. I know I want to be here to see my son get married. I want to be here to help him purchase his first home. And, you know, I could walk outside, something can happen beyond my control. But what can I control? You take those things that you can control and you allow that to be your motivation to remain disciplined. Allow that to be your motivation. I look at it like this. When I go to work, I can only work 10 hours. I got to clock out after 10 hours. That's it.
Right.
And that's how you should treat every aspect of your life. I can hang around the hospital for 2 more hours, but I'm not clocked in. I'm not getting paid.
What's the purpose?
And so when I think about dieting, exercise, you know, even your spiritual journey, if I say, I'm going to read my Bible or Quran or whatever your religion is, 15 minutes a day, do it for those 15 minutes a day. Then a year later, you're going to see a huge difference. You don't see the differences. And that's why it's so hard to be disciplined, because we don't see the differences immediately. We don't see the results immediately. I do these 100 crunches, then the next day my stomach's still fat. Like, what's going on? Yes. But if you do 100 crunches every day for 365 days, you're going to see the difference.
Oh, yes.
And that's the thing with humans. Like, if it's not instant, it's like, when I'm going to give up. I'm going to do something else. I'm not doing this anymore. So discipline is hard. And let me tell you, as an adult, it's hard, because we know that with children, you know, we kind of, they're structured, a little bit more structured. They get their reward for doing well in school, etc. As adults, we know that, well, I'm not going to gain 5 pounds if I eat this pasta just today. But then we tell ourselves that every day.
Right.
And then next thing you know, it's accumulated.
Or I can get some pizza tomorrow.
Right. You know, I ate this salad today, so I'm going to eat this pizza tomorrow. But then you eat salad the next day and you tell yourself that same thing over and over again. And then so you're eating pizza every other day, you know? No,
I love how you just made that clear about the instant gratification. Like, we want something right now.
Right.
And I think, I mean, that's, some people have that as a character flaw, but some people just have that because of life. You know what I'm saying? Just because, because there's some things I hadn't gotten in the past, but now all of a sudden I know I can get something right now, so I need this. But then there's certain parts of life, it's not going to be instant. So I need, for me, I need to tell myself, stay with it, stick with it. You're going to see some results later. Just like you said, if you do it for a year, you're going to see some results. This is like saving money. If you save some money and stop spending for a year, oh my God, how much will you have?
Exactly.
And stop doing fast food or certain things. I know some people that had that challenge. They challenge themselves. We're not going to eat out. We're not going to do the fast food, and we're not going to eat out. They saw, success in more ways than one.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It flows over to other areas of your life. Once you learn to be disciplined in one area, I was reading this book one time, and this woman, she was like, I have an exercise for you. Every night before you go to bed, clean out your sink. I was like, this is stupid. But I was like, okay, whatever. So I did it. And I did it for like 30 days. And then she added another thing. Make your bed every morning. Like, it's still stupid, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Okay.
And what you have to realize, and I don't know if you read this book, Atomic Habits.
I have it. I've read half, but
really,
not all.
It's really
great.
good. It's a great book. And it basically tells you that, every small thing you do consistently every single day builds up. It's like a house. You start with your bricks, you start your foundation, and slowly you add on until it becomes a home. It's like a puzzle. You start with one piece, you keep adding, all of a sudden you can see the big picture. And that's the thing with discipline. And you have to have a reason for doing what you're doing, a reason that's bigger than you, a reason that will keep you going regardless of what's going on in life. You have to identify that first. Even with like financially, I want to be retired at 45. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. I got 4 years. Let's figure it out. But so when I have a financial endeavor, I have to realize my reason is bigger than the stress I'm feeling right now as far as this financial endeavor is concerned. I want to be able to be at home with my children. Yeah. And that's my dream. Like, I want to be a stay-at-home, rich mama and wife.
I do. I
rich
want that too.
Mama
Claim
and
it.
wife.
Claim it.
Okay?
I'm claiming it too. Yes, it's going to happen.
What's that? S-A-H, stay-at-home.
Rich.
S-A-H-R-M. Okay? Put the R in rich. But I know I have to put in the work, and I have to be creative, and I got to work my businesses and do this and in order to reach that goal. But ultimately, my goal is to be at home with my kids, all the time. I want to look on YouTube and get these recipes, and I want to cook new things, and I want to wipe my walls with Dial soap and, and scrub them and scrub my baseboards with a toothbrush for fun. And like, oh my God, my house is so clean, and
I did that.
I did that. I didn't have to get a housekeeper, because I'm always home. So it's realizing what is your goal? What is your ultimate goal? And that's what drives discipline.
Oh, I love it.
It drives discipline.
Okay. I'm going to do better. I'm going to be disciplined in certain areas. So that takes me to my last question for you. So self-care for you. So we all have different things when we identify or define as self-care. When you say I'm going to have a self-care day, or I'm going to invest more in self-care, what does that look like for Patrice?
For me, I guess I'm simple. A lot of people go out, they get their nails done and hair done. And that's fine. But honey, I can lay on the couch all day, watch YouTube documentaries, and I'm good. Just to have that alone time, to not think about things. I try not to think about work. I try not to think about what I'm trying to do with businesses and how I'm going to do this and that and what's my next step. I try not to think about anything. I tune it out. I get off social media. And I just watch like documentaries. That's what I like to do. Learn about different countries, different, cultures, different people. That's relaxing to me. I also like to travel. But when you travel with kids, it's not really a vacation for you. It's like babysitting in a different city. So I do like to travel. I like to hang. I like to go and visit my friends from college because I feel like, during that transition between high school and college, that's when the real you is there, and you kind of grow up with these people and they really know who you really are, the root of who you are, without the job, without, titles, children and this, that, and the other. They know who you are. So I find that when I go back, like to visit my college friends, I come back so refreshed.
Oh, I know.
Because I feel like I'm around people that really know me. And they accept me and they don't care that I'm country. They don't care, that I don't pronounce this word right and I'm supposed to be a pharmacist. I don't have to do that. I can cut all that off. and be who I am. And they accept that. And that makes me happy. And I get rejuvenated. You know?
See it. I feel it.
Girl, I come back to Memphis, ready to work. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, no, but I'm so glad you pointed that out because it makes a difference. Not saying that, you know, people that's your friends that you get in adult life, it just feels like home.
Right.
And it feels like I have that. And it's so good to have that. It's actually a blessing to have that when you say, okay, they know as soon as you come, it's like you've seen each other, but you really ain't saw each other in a couple of years, but it's love, it's genuine.
Right.
The energy is no negative. You don't feel no.
You can take that mask off. You can take, you know, all the fake stuff, all that armor. You don't have to be strong. You don't have to be this and that. You can just be who you are.
I love, And we need to really take that. We need to know that is something that's so valuable and precious because a lot of people don't have that.
But you know, another thing too, we need to be like that with ourselves. We need to be more authentic with ourselves. And I'm talking to myself too. You know, how I am around those friends, I need to be I need to be that way with me, you know, all the time. You know, once you are you're authentic with yourself and you're honest with yourself, then it's only up from there. As long as you know what your goals are and you try to stay disciplined, you stay consistent.
Oh, well, I think you took us home on that one.
I hope so, girl. I was a little nervous. I was like, oh, I'm on camera? I thought it was going to be like on a Zoom call or something.
No, it's good. No, it's good. I think you took us home on that. So I'm so glad that you were here. And I'm glad that you were here to share some stuff for Trim the Fat. And I do want you to come back.
Yay, we got to talk about a lot of stuff.
We got so much stuff to talk about. So you're probably going to be a regular. Look,
every
other episode.
I got a lot of topics to talk about.